getting psychiatric services or treatment. Yeah? So if we compare, you know, with the book that I will be sharing after this, okay, he talks about or he gives some warnings or some reminders, okay, about what could be the negative aspect, okay. But in this book, he is mentioning the advantages of using the technology. Yeah. That is why, okay, he looks both as the positive and also the negative aspect. Okay. This is just to show some of his recent publications. So this is an article which is related also to the book that we will be mentioning after this. Yeah. Okay. And then he also did also some research on gaming. Yeah. Okay. The internet gaming disorder. Yeah. Okay. So if you're interested, you can take a look at his paper. And this is his latest publication, which is an editorial to the World Psychiatry Journal. Okay, so this was very recent. Okay, in January this year. Yeah. So he is, we can say, actively publishing articles and with the journals. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at the book itself. Okay. So what I'm showing in this slide is the how does the book look like in the hardbound format. Okay. So the one that we saw just now is the paperback. This is how does it look like if you buy the hardcover. Okay. So the cover or the picture of the cover is different. Yeah. Okay. This book is published in 2011 and is having 352 pages. Yeah. And basically, this book would discuss about the personality of people when they are online, yeah, or rather personality of people because they are online, yeah. Meaning, to say that, okay, that when people go online, sometimes they would have a different way of or a different kind of personality, yeah. Okay, so he has mentioned that in the book. Yeah? Okay, so the issue is not just when there is a split between the virtual and the online self. Yeah, meaning it's not a situation whereby you, in real world you are a different person. In online, when you go online, you are a different person. But what eventually happens is when the way we behave online is affecting, okay, our real life. Yeah. Okay, so meaning that the way that we purposely change our personality when we go online now has becoming our actual personality or affecting some aspects of our our offline life. Yeah? So he was highlighting on this point. Okay, so he looks into online interaction on the internet through all channels or all types of medium, either through computers, online games, using smartphones or devices, and so on. Okay, so if we have read the book, okay, he doesn't only touches about internet or social media, but also games, yeah, and using smartphone and others. Okay, and what he mentions here is based on the cases of his patients. Yeah, so that is why if you look at the title of the book, it sounds a bit on the negative side. Okay, so we have to remember that he is a psychiatrist. So what he is sharing here in his book is what he deals with his patients. Okay, many people who have issues or we can say problems. Okay, and they meet him. Yeah, that is why the title of the book, okay, is in that manner. Yeah. Okay, the dangerous power of the personality. Okay. Okay, maybe just to share for a few seconds. Okay, my book. Okay, so this is the picture of the book that I bought. Okay, so I bought this during the MCO last year. Okay, so because at that time, okay, we were not, I mean, we know that we couldn't like move around freely. We are at home most of the time. Okay, so this is one of the books, okay, that I read, okay, during the MCO time, and you know, during not being able to go anywhere. Yeah. Okay, and there is also a good offer for the price. Yeah. So if you look at the price, it is originally 75 ringgit and 90 cent. Okay, but the offer given there is only 19 ringgit and 90 cent. Okay. So that's actually also another reason lah that motivated me to buy the book as well. Okay. Let's go into the discussion. Okay. So basically, in general, okay, e-personality is the virtual identity which is a result of our online interactions. Okay. For this discussion, I will try to summarize the main ideas. Okay. And maybe after this, if there are discussions, that we can have the discussion. Okay. So the virtual identity, okay, or the e-identity of the person when we have online interactions. Okay, I guess we are familiar that when we talk about personality, there is the debate, okay, between nature versus nurture. Okay, so this is the classical debate, meaning some would say that our personality is based on our nature, okay, based on our biological makeup, okay, based on our genes, okay, our genetic makeup and so on. Okay, and whereas for the nurture, it is saying that okay, our personality is shaped, okay, by our environment, by our by our parents, by the education, and so on. Yeah. Okay, but we can say that in general, it is agreed upon that it is both nature and nurture has the what we call role, okay, in shaping a person's personality. Okay, right. So in this book, he was mentioning that when people go online, okay, right, people would experience a release of dopamine. Yeah. So I think we know dopamine, okay, is we can say the hormone that is released when we are happy, right? That is released by our body when we are happy. Yeah. This would mean that okay, when we go online or when we do certain things, okay, online, then it makes us happy, and therefore we would want to keep on doing it. Yeah. Okay, and at the same time, okay, he also mentioned about another research that mentions that when people go online, okay, there is a decrease in the brain's glucose metabolism. Okay, so meaning that the brain cells, not all of them are functioning. Yeah. Okay. So meaning that there are certain cells in the brain which are not fully functioning. Yeah? Okay. So actually, this is the study that was done to look into the effect of the on the brain when people play games. Yeah. Playing online games. Yeah. Okay. So that's one point, and then he also cited another research, okay, by Dr. John Soler, who is a psychologist at Rider University, okay, whereby he mentioned about the online disinhibition effect, meaning that when people go online, okay, the way they behave and the way they think, okay, they are feeling more open or more free, okay, to do certain behaviors or to think in a certain way as compared to if, let's say, they were interacting with a person face to face. Okay, and this would happen in a more frequent manner. Okay, many people would do this more frequently as compared to any face to face interaction, and more intense. Okay, meaning it is we can say at a more or rather at a higher level, okay, of intensity in the thought and the behavior. Yeah? Okay, so this is related to the unique features of the internet. Okay, according to the study, in saying that because when we go online, we are having anonymity. Okay, to a certain extent, okay, we are having anonymity. Yeah? Many people do not know who we actually are. Okay, maybe they just can see our profile. Okay, or if let's say we just create maybe an anonymous or sorry pseudonym, you know, okay, not giving the real name, so that would be possible. Of course, there are people who do put their actual name and their actual information. Okay, but to say that it is possible, okay, to hide our identity, okay, when we are online. Okay, and then the second one is invisibility. Okay, meaning that we do not see the person who we are interacting with. Okay, it's just through the text, you know, or it's just through what we call the chat, yeah, unless we are doing a video call. Okay, but in most situations when we're using social media or when we are commenting online, okay, we do not see who the other person is, yeah. Okay, and then the third one is loss of boundaries between individual, okay, because it is not face to face, meaning that normally when we interact with other people, okay, face to face, okay, there are certain boundaries. Those boundaries meaning that we would communicate, we would interact in a certain way. Yeah, we would see the person, then we might have certain maybe feeling of respect, you know, or maybe because the person is not familiar to us, so maybe we do not speak to that person casually. Yeah, but when it is online, then we are freely to just say or comment or type whatever that we want. Okay? And the first one is that when we go online, there is a lack of any real hierarchy in cyberspace. Okay, we do not know who the other people are. Are they older than us? Are they younger than us? Okay, are they what we call people who are probably respectable in the society? Okay, or I mean, we do not know who they are. Okay, as compared to, for example, if the face-to-face, or we know, okay, this is let's say an elderly person. Okay, so probably we would have more respect to that person and so on. Yeah. Okay, right. Uh, okay, so he highlights the five psychological forces. Okay, that create the e-personality. Okay, which is grandiosity, narcissism, darkness, impulsivity, and regression. Okay, so maybe for some of us who are familiar with these terms, okay, we know what they mean. Okay, so I will just explain them in brief, and also within the context of what he mentioned in the book in relation to the online what we call interaction. Okay, so grandiosity or delusions of grandeur. Okay, meaning that, okay, when people are online, okay, they feel that they are great. You know, they feel that they are the most powerful person, you know. Okay, so he defines it as an exaggerated belief in one's importance and one's abilities. Yeah. So if you look at the graphic there, okay, you see the kitten. Okay, but what does the kitten see? He thinks it is a lion. Yeah. Okay, right. So you might be thinking, for example, if Page and Brain can do it, then I can too. Okay. Who knows who is Page and Brain? Uh, uh, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Who are these two people? Maybe Dr. Liana knows.
Not sure. Can you explain to us, Dr. Aznan?
Okay. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, these are the founders of Google. So if you read the story of Google, you know that how they started, okay, in a very modest manner, and now they are like, you can say, king of the virtual world, quote unquote. Yeah. Okay, so meaning that if other people can do great things online, so I can too. So meaning that is the feeling. Okay, and then like another example, like for example, because YouTube will allow me to become an instant global superstar. Okay, even though if I do something weird or quote unquote stupid, you know, okay, but people will like, I know people will share the video and so on. Okay, because it is possible, right? Very easy, to upload the video. Okay, but actually we can say that there is a need to balance between the big dreams and reality. Of course, okay, we should dream big, okay, but at the same time, it will be a motivation for us, okay, but we should also understand that, okay, there is always the up and downs, yeah. Okay, not that everything will happen, okay, the way we want it, yeah. So maybe if we have to just modify the statement above, we say that if Fish and Brain can do it, then I can try to, yeah, okay, but I need to be real, yeah, rather than feeling overly confident, you know. Okay, so we shouldn't be delusional. We shouldn't like think that everything is possible. Okay, but when people go online, some people have that feeling. Yeah, some people have that feeling. Okay, narcissism. Okay, I think we know what is this. Okay, so I have also included some what we call paragraphs from the book. Yeah, so people who think that they are the center of the universe. You know, okay, they are the most important person on the face of the earth. Yeah, okay, all right. And social media, provides the channel for us, okay, to show that we are the greatest person in the world, quote unquote. Okay, right. It is easy, for us, for people, they share, for example, okay, their life, okay, and what else, their possessions and everything, so because they feel that everybody wants to know what they have for breakfast, what time they go to sleep and so on. Okay, right. Because and then in addition to that, okay, some people would reconfigure themselves. Okay, okay, quote unquote, reconfigure with Photoshop, with filters, and sometimes people even go to the extent of putting fake information or fake profiles, okay, just for the sake of gaining large numbers of friends and like, yeah, right, on the social media. And this is what the author mentions, that people are going into God mode. Yeah, meaning they are creating themselves. Okay, they are creating another self of them in their online interaction. Okay. He also mentioned about Second Life. Okay, maybe some of us know about this. Okay, this is a game that was an online game that was quite popular some time ago. Yeah, where people create avatars and then they live an online life with their avatar on the platform of the game. Yeah. Okay. So uh, the situation is that people believe, that they are important. People believe that others are interested in them, to an extent that it is, we can say, something that is not common, yeah, to have such feeling, yeah. Maybe sometimes we are happy to share, that could be fine, but when it becomes too much, okay, then it might go to the extent of narcissism. Okay, and then the third force is darkness. Okay, because the online interaction or the online context would allow it to be easy to become evil. Okay, you might see the person, as what we call nice and soft spoken, but when the person goes online, okay, so he would do things, like belittle other people, dehumanize them, say bad things, what we call cyberbully, or maybe up to the extent cyber violence, meaning to encourage them, because we have heard about cases, like people tell other people to commit suicide, online and everything, what he calls as darkness, because of what we mentioned just now, the non face-to-face interaction. Okay, then people don't have that feeling or emotion to other people. They can just say, or they can just do or post whatever they want. Yeah. Okay. All right. Another force is impulsivity. Okay. Right. Because when we are online, okay, it makes many things easier. Okay. Of course, a common example is shopping, lah. Okay. But of course, it can be other things as well. Okay. It can be other things as well. So because it's easy to do things. Okay. We just click here, click there, and then things are done. So sometimes people might get too carried away. So in his book, he was mentioning about a case about one of his patients, his patient who was having a very serious financial problem, because the patient keep on buying and buying and buying, even though that person doesn't really have enough money, okay, for spending and so on. Okay, so that is just an example of impulsivity. Okay, and then the next force of the OE personality is regression. Okay, so so he is mentioning that when people go online, is some people would tend to want to behave like when they were children. Okay, meaning going back, to becoming a child, in their online actions. Okay, being playful, and he was actually mentioning about games lah, basically, people playing games too much, too much playing games, okay, and he was, and this is referring to adults, okay, so people who are adults who have actually responsibilities and so on, but when they go online, especially if they were to play games, so as if they forget everything, okay. And then also he was referring to aspects of language, like for example, where people use a short form in sending text, so that is, we can say, sort of like diminishing, the linguistic ability, so as if being a child, okay, and also losing the ability to accurately communicate with others, and he was giving the example of the emoticon, emoticon, or nowadays we call it the emoji, okay, and because sometimes when we use the emoticons or emoji, some people might what we call get the wrong message, so that might create some confusion in the online communication, so what is he's referring to regression here is saying that, we or rather adults, are as if they are reducing their skills, from what an adult should be able to do to becoming a child again. Okay. Okay, so those are the five forces that he was saying that would shape a person's personality. So basically, how would a person manage those forces? Okay, so that it doesn't be something that is too much, affecting their life. Okay, and then in the later chapters, he was so he mentioned that because of this e-personality and the forces that shape this e-personality, some consequences could happen to a person's life. So he was mentioning this as if the person is being affected, by this online personality onto his actual life, as if his real life is being reconfigured, by the e-personality. So he was giving some examples in the chapters, like for example, illusion of knowledge. Yeah, so meaning that because people rely on the online environment, so as if they think they know everything, quote unquote, as if they know everything, they are able to know or access everything. But he was mentioning something like, in terms of quantity, could be increasing, but maybe in terms of quality or depth of the knowledge might not be that much. Yeah. Okay. And then he was mentioning also about internet addiction. Yeah. So internet addiction, in saying that, because when we go online, okay, and we feel happy, and because of the dopamine and everything, so people tend to spend too much time online. Okay. Not just, for playing games, but for or we can say many other things. Okay, watching YouTube videos, or maybe just browsing here and there. Clicking from one news to another news, and then you suddenly realize that you have already spent like several hours, okay, of doing or being online. Okay. And of course, the issue of privacy. Yeah. So I think this is, we can say, very well understood by all of us. So the issue of privacy could happen also if the person would is not careful, okay, in his online communications, or online interactions, okay. And then he was also mentioning about marking time and making memories. Okay? Basically, what he is referring to here is that whatever activity that we do online, it will be there. Okay, the posts, okay, the what we call uploads, yeah, and whatever that we do, okay, it would remain there. Even though sometimes if we have deleted it or taken it down, maybe others already have a copy of that content, and then they would share it with others as well. Okay, and also, situations whereby if the person has already passed away, okay, but whatever that is online is still there, unless somebody takes it away, or removes it. Okay. So in conclusion, okay, so this is the last chapter. Okay, so he was presenting, okay, the situation of the e-personality and the forces that shape this e-personality, and what would be the consequences, if we do not manage, okay, our online interaction or use of the internet or other online platforms. Okay, right. So he mentioned, okay, in the book that he has the hope for this book to be giving the reader the tools and the questions, okay, that are necessary to make an assessment of the internet that is more mindful of our psyche. And he considers that he has succeeded if the reader starts approaching virtual life a little bit more self-consciously, if not less frequently. Okay. And he added that he harbor no illusions of the latter, meaning he believes that people will not be less frequent, okay, online. People will be more and more frequent online, okay, but he hopes that people would be more self-conscious, okay, when they are online, and not to get too carried away, okay, and not to result in having an e-personality that is actually affecting, their real life. So if you read the book, he mentioned many examples, okay, like people who were involved in online gambling, okay, and many other examples. There was a case of, a husband and wife, who, if I'm not mistaken, who went online, so they created fake names, because they wanted to be a different person online, and then eventually this different character that they created online, what we call, is affecting the actual way that they behave, okay. So that is all, okay, that I have to share for this. And I apologize if I take a bit too much time. Okay, so thank you very much, and I uh, give back the session to Dr. Liana. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Aznan. Very interesting indeed. So now I'm thinking that maybe the personality I am now is not myself. Maybe it's just e-personality. Okay, by the way, we have covered about e-personality, about grandiosity, narcissism, darkness, impulsivity, regression, and also many other issues like cyberbullying, photoshopping ourselves, and so on, privacy issues. Right, so actually we would like to open to the floor for question and answers. If you have any, you can unmute your mic, or you can write in the chat box. Okay, it's a very interesting topic indeed. Right, Dr. Asnan, while waiting for the questions, okay, would like to ask, in this book, the e-personality mentioned there are mostly about gaming or commenting in the internet and so on. What do you think about the Zoom fatigue or webinar fatigue? Does it being covered in this book, or that's a different e-personality or different topic?
Okay. First of all, okay. Yeah, in the book, he was mentioning about, in general, any kind of online activity or online interaction. Yeah. So what he was mentioning is that basically using the internet, okay, using the internet, okay, for any kind of online activity, gaming, texting, shopping, gambling, okay, whatever. Okay, in fact, there was also a chapter on online dating and other stuff. Yeah? Okay. But going back to your question, okay, of course, in this book, it doesn't mention, he didn't mention anything about online meetings or online what we call video calls or video meetings. Yeah, he didn't mention anything about that. Probably at that time in 2011 or maybe 2010, when he was writing the book. Okay, video conferencing was probably not that much widespread at the moment. Okay, so personally, I feel that when it is face-to-face video interaction, okay, it is different, okay, the nature than when a person is not seeing the other side, just texting or just commenting, leaving a comment, that kind of interaction is different because you don't see the person. But in video calls or video conferencing or video meetings, we can see the person, okay, uh, if the person turns on, both sides turns on the camera lah, basically. Okay, so maybe in that sense, it might be having some similarities with actual face-to-face, only that you are not physically together with the other person.
I see. So maybe that's a bit different kind of e-personality, maybe, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
could be.
If the audience have any questions, then you can feel free to ask, okay? Dr. Asnan, about you mentioned about the personality, the grandiosity, narcissism, darkness, and so on. So, for example, what about the opposite personality like pessimism and so on? Probably that also is included in the concept of e-personality. Like you mentioned, bullying, right? So probably the people who being cyberbullied
The
feel,
opposite of it.
yeah.
Okay. The way he was describing, of course, he was referring to the cases of his patients. Uh, because these patients, they were seeing him because they were facing problems when they using the internet. Okay, we can say maybe in an excessive way, or maybe in a way which they find it difficult to control, or maybe even other kinds of situations. Maybe because there was also a case whereby the person first thought that that he wasn't having any problems. Okay, he would think he's fine in using the internet and everything, but actually, okay, there were some issues. Yeah. The forces that he was mentioning are relating to this to these cases, okay, and also to his research and other people's research in showing that when people are when to put it in maybe one word, okay, a bit excessive, okay, when they are online, a bit excessive when they are online. So if people who maybe use the internet moderately, or maybe who are like we're saying pessimistic and so on, maybe the way they would interact might be the opposite of those people who are excessive. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, in his book he didn't mention much, okay, or directly about the situation of the people who are not active, or rather not excessive in their online activities. Yeah.
I see. So what do you suggest for us? Nowadays we're always online, and any advice for all of us here?
All of us are aware, that we should have some balance in our life. Okay, not to be online all the time. Of course, it is sometimes difficult. But it is something that we can try our best. To have more actual interaction or communication with people who are close to us, like for example, family members and so on, or friends or colleagues. We interact with people who are further away from us, okay, through our online communication. But do not forget the people who are close to us. And then another thing is that we should always remember that the technology that is created are the tools for us to help us improve our aspects of life. Like for example, to help us in communicating with people, who are further away, for example, okay, or that can help us to buy things that we need, easily, right? Or many things that the technology or the online platforms, okay, can provide for us to make our life easier. Yeah. So we should always be aware that we are the masters of the technology. Okay, to make sure that they serve us and not we become the slave to the technology. So we should always be mindful of that lah. But as highlighted, in his book, basically the main message is that people tend to get too carried away, and then when it becomes too serious, then the problems happen, and then they have to see the counselor or the psychiatrist, okay, so yeah, maybe that is something that I believe everyone is aware of it. Okay, so especially as Muslims, we are the best creations that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has created on the face of earth, and the technology, we are the creators. We are the ones who created the technology. So we should be careful not to make the technology in controlling us, but we should be in control of the technology, or we should try to create technologies that will help us and not create much problem for us. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Aznan. Okay. Is there any questions? What questions do you would like to ask? We have another 5 minutes. Or any feedback. We welcome any feedback, suggestion, or questions.
Assalamualaikum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yes, very interesting. Actually, when you mentioned just now, that we are the creator of the technology, it reminds me to the the film's social dilemma. Okay, when this guy, what's the name? The Tristan Harris, isn't it? He said that the technology that we have now has the ability to bring out the worst of the society. Okay, so looking at those points that you mentioned just now, narcissism, darkness, all those things. So, are we going to blame the technology, or are we going to blame ourselves in this context?
Yeah, because for one, the technology is created as such, and then the people who are responsible in the creating the technology, they have a role to play as well, to see whether the technology or the applications that are created, what is the effect that could happen on the users. And then at the same time, the users of the technology should also be having, we can say, an awareness on how to make use of the technology. Okay, and that is what it has been highlighted also by the author of the book. when he mentions about being having self-discipline, okay, and being self-conscious, okay, when we are using the technology, okay. Maybe I just also want to mention here, because I'm not sure, okay, about the full background of the author. Like I said, okay, he is an Arab, okay, but I could not find any information whether he is Muslim, okay, or maybe not, okay. But what he has highlighted in the book, okay, did not touch anything about any specific religious teachings, okay, either Islam or other what we call religion. Yeah. However, he did mention a bit about some discussion on God. Like the point that I highlighted just now. When as if people are taking the role of God in trying to create themselves in another character or another form when they are having their online identities. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aznan and Dr. Rushdie. So is there any other question or feedback? Okay, if there's none for now, okay, you can always contact Kict Rc Sense or Dr. Aznan after this if you would like to discuss further on this topic. Okay, very interesting indeed. So, Dr. Aznan, before we end, do you have any last take-home message in one sentence for all of us?
Okay. Right. Maybe as a reminder to myself and also to everyone. Yeah. Okay, we should be responsible. Okay, when we use the technology. Okay, to make use it in a balanced way, right? To make sure that it is something that is serving us, serving our needs. Okay, and not get too carried away. Okay, in using it. Yeah? And for people who are involved in developing the technology, so the developers have the responsibility, okay, to ensure that what they develop would be able to meet the needs of the people and not to create harm, to the society. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And I would like, I'd like to apologize for any shortcomings in my presentation. Hopefully, it is having some benefit for all of us. And if you have the opportunity, try and get the book, okay? Because there are more details mentioned in the book. Okay.
Yes, very interesting indeed. Thank you very much, Dr. Aznan, for beneficial sharing with us today. And thank you everyone for joining us in the KICT RC Sense today. So